Hey guys, it's Shelby, otherwise known as Shelbizleee here on YouTube, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about recycling cosmetic packaging. There are a few different ways that I have read that you can recycle cosmetic packaging once you are done with it, and because I am a dumpster diver, sometimes I find empty packaging and I don't know what to do with it because I don't just want to throw it away, and other times I work through some of the products that I have found dumpster diving and I need to recycle them. Before we get into all the examples of how you can recycle makeup packaging, I want to tell you guys the 3 R's are in the order that they're in for a reason, right? The 3 R's that everybody knows: reduce, reuse, recycle. I think most people only focus on recycle because it is the easiest thing to think about. It is the thing that has been most taught to us, but I want you guys to understand that the most important thing you can do is to reduce. So not to be an over consumer of things like makeup that come with all of these packagings that are in different parts and so many different pieces. It's very hard to repurpose them, and you want to reduce your footprint the most in the way of reducing the amount of that you bring into your home and the amount of it that you purchase, okay? So it's the first thing to keep in mind. Of course, I do like to wear makeup when I make videos for you guys. It's a fun thing to do sometimes, I think, but I do basically wear all of the makeup that I find in the dumpster. That's the only makeup that I wear. Obviously it's not accessible to everyone, so then my other option is reuse, and there are a bunch of great cosmetic companies who are doing great things with reducing their packaging, having less toxic ingredients in their formulas of eyeshadows, lipsticks, so on and so forth. So I will list a few of the ones I have found recently in the description box. I'm also going to list my zero waste makeup series where I made a few cosmetics of my own. I do still use the mascara that I made in those videos every single day. It's what I have on my eyes now and I love it so much. So always keep that in mind, that recycle is the last step, not the first, and there are so many other steps you can take to reduce your consumption of things like this. So the first thing I thought about when I was thinking about compiling this video to make for you guys is how could you recycle your cosmetic packaging just through your regular curbside recycling that you have at your house. And I know not everybody has this, but I think that the majority of people do. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you don't have it, then that's fine. I have some other options for you as well. But I think the first thing to think about is how can you do it in your own curbside, because that is probably the most convenient for you and it's at least one option. So I wanted to show you that. So I took one of the palettes that I found in a recent dumpster dive in my last video. If you want to see what I found in that haul, you can go watch that. But I took that Morphe palette that I found in my last haul and took it apart so I could show you guys how you can recycle the parts that go into making your palettes. So let's get into that right now. So the idea here is that I'm going to take apart this Morphe palette that I found in the dumpster. I'm going to disassemble it so I can show you all the different parts that these makeup palettes are typically made out of and why it's so difficult to recycle them. I'm hoping this encourages you to very much take down the consumption of these materials in your life. So let's go ahead and get started. You saw that the lid was very easy to take off, probably because it was a dumpster find and it was already coming detached. That top layer, I'm not sure what type of plastic it is. I think it might have been acrylic. It was a very hard and clear plastic, so I think that it might have been acrylic, and not all curbsides take that sort of plastic, so I'm not sure if yours does or not. You'll have to look into your own city to see if you could recycle that in your curbside or not. Then I went ahead and tried to get all of the little shadows out of this first layer of plastic. As you can see, the first row right there was not glued down. That's why I was able to take those 5 out so easily. And then underneath those little eyeshadow palettes is this very thin plastic. My intuitions tell me that this is probably plastic number 5, which is a very thin plastic that is not easily recycled. Most of the time, if it is even able to be recycled, it can only be reused once to be made into an even more toxic form of plastic. So not something we want to be supporting when we can avoid it. I also noticed that this other part of the palette was not glued down at all, just popped in there. So then I tried to remove all of the little eyeshadow tins from that side as well. I thought that once I did that, it would be easy to cut the thin layer of plastic off of that thicker one, but there was definitely a lot of glue there holding it down. So after a while, I just decided to go ahead and remove all of the shadow tins and then take out that thin layer of plastic. I'm doing this because that thin plastic, like I said, is probably plastic number 5, which is different than plastic number 1, which is what I'm assuming the bottom part is. Plastic number 1 is much easier recycled than plastic number 5, so you want to separate them because they're really needing to go into separate compartments in the recycling process. Once I finally got that thin layer of plastic off of the thicker layer of plastic, that was all I had. So let's recap really quickly. I first had the lid, which was this really thick, clear acrylic type plastic. I can't confirm if it is or not. It's either plastic number 1 or it's acrylic. I'm not positive on that one. Then there is the eyeshadow tin itself, which I'm gonna take a stab and say this is made of aluminum. So that's what I'm gonna be recycling that one as. Then there's the thin plastic, which again, I am assuming is plastic number 5. I did tear it up a little bit trying to get it out, but it should be able to go into a thin plastic recycling. And then the last part is the most easily recyclable part of all of this, which is going to be the plastic on the bottom, which I am assuming is plastic number 1. So as you can see, there are a ton of parts to this, and we want to avoid it as much as possible. So for those of you who don't want to put in the time or effort to tear apart your makeup palettes, which is pretty understandable, I have a couple other options. The first option that came up is something called TerraCycle. I've been hearing about them for a while and I wanted to talk about them, but to be so honest with you guys, their website is very hard to figure out. So I took about 30 minutes this morning trying to figure it out again for the 4th time, trying to navigate my way through the website and figure out how to get a shipping label to ship a package of stuff back to TerraCycle so that they could repurpose it, because they're actually a really cool organization that takes things from your home if you need to recycle them, like dishwashing bottles, shampoo bottles, makeup packaging, and all sorts of things you can ship back to them. Like Tetra Packs that you can't normally recycle and curbside recycling, etc., etc. It's a really cool program. The problem with it is that I think, if I'm not wrong, and tell me if any of you guys have done this, you have to be a large collector to be able to send them anything. There could be places in your area where there are drop-offs for this type of stuff, so definitely check the website. I'm still going to link it for you guys. They have drop-off facilities where you can go and drop off like your makeup packaging in a box, and then they will ship that whole box of what's collected from your community back to TerraCycle, and they will repurpose it. But as far as I can tell, me as an individual cannot just get a shipping label from them, package up a box of things I need to be recycled, and ship it back to them. I was able to find a cosmetic zero waste box where you can put stuff in and ship it back to them, but the minimum cost of doing that is $67, which I guess makes sense if you have to pay to recycle those items, and then they're gonna turn them into some recycled form of what you sent them. But the frustrating part of that is TerraCycle repurposes these things and either sells it to industry or sells whatever they make out of it. So the fact that we have to pay a minimum of $67 to send in some products, it doesn't seem realistic to most people. I wouldn't think would be willing to spend that kind of money just to dispose of their stuff when they could just throw it in their trash can for free. So I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, that everybody doesn't want to pay to recycle their items, but that's reality. So I found one other option, which is by a company that I don't typically support because I don't think they're cruelty free last time I checked. But Origins is a skincare company, and I think they have a few makeup items. And I've heard that if you just go to one of their like counters, like I think even in Macy's, you can give them packaging to any makeup brand, any sort of cosmetic packaging like that you need to be recycled, and they will recycle it for you. Now, I've never done this, but I do have a few palettes that you guys saw me find. Like I said in my dumpster diving haul earlier this week, I have a few of those palettes that are completely destroyed, empty, and will not need to be reused. So I will going to try to take them to Origins and see if they will take them. But before I drive up there and put a camera in their face and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to call them. So let's give them a call real quick. Hi, I was just calling because I was reading online that you guys accept cosmetic packaging, kind of, that you have a recycling program.
We do, yes, we do recycle any and all cosmetics.
Okay, cool. So can I just bring them up to the store and like hand it to you over the counter, or how does that work?
Yep, that's perfect.
Awesome, cool.
And we send them off.
Okay.
And if you are a rewards member, you can get points, 25 points a month for doing that.
Very cool. Okay, so they said it is as simple as that. I can just bring my packaging into the counter, they'll take it, and they'll recycle it. And they said that if you are a customer there, you also get points for their reward system. They have pretty clear and clean ingredients in a lot of their stuff. And I think they are going to let me video some stuff at their store, so thank you to them for that. But let's go ahead and check that out right now. So I have some cosmetic packaging here, and I heard that you guys have a recycling program.
We do, and fantastic. Thank you for bringing those in. You're helping save the planet.
Definitely.
I love it so much.
Yeah, so it's just like some hair care product stuff.
We take Origin product bottles, any kind of cosmetic brand bottles. Any cosmetic brand.
Okay.
And we'll take it, we send it off to a facility in New York, and they will either recycle it or burn it into clean energy.
Okay.
To help save the planet.
Very cool. And I heard you guys have a point system?
Yes, we have a loyalty program that actually helps to get you points for free source full-size products. So you can come in once a month and get 25 points for recycling.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yes.
I think you guys are one of the only people who do this.
Yes, actually a couple of other Estee Lauder companies do it.
Okay.
MAC is really good with their
I know they take their own stuff back.
They just take their own stuff back.
Okay.
But a couple other Estee Lauder companies, I believe Joe Malone does a recycling program too.
Very cool, yeah, because my channel focuses on eco-friendly stuff, but also a lot of like girly things, right? So makeup plays into that.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to recycle a lot of the things because it's weird packaging, weird plastics.
It is. Not everybody knows how to clean what's inside the packaging either, so that's why we have our facility in New York that knows how to specializes in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for talking.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate it. My viewers probably appreciate it too. Okay guys, well that's it for what I have for you today with recycling cosmetics. Obviously there are a lot of different options, and these are just a few of the ones that I found that are probably accessible to most people. If you have a mall near you in a Macy's, there is probably an Origins store counter front that you can go and drop off your cosmetic packaging at. If you don't feel like tearing it apart like the example that I had, and if you don't have a TerraCycle drop off near you, I think that Origins is going to be the most accessible thing for you guys. I really had fun making this video, and I think that it will be helpful to a lot of you. If you have any of your friends who have been wondering about this, and if your friends who are makeup junkies and you don't want them to continue throwing away their packaging, please share this with them. Give this information a platform to get out there to more and more people so that we can make a difference, basically. But that's all I have for today, you guys, so thank you so much for watching, and remember, until next time, create the peace.